Centaurs, half human, half horse, and one of the strangest creatures ever imagined. But behind their familiar look, there's a dark history most people never hear about. In ancient Greece, centaurs lived in the mountains, far from humans. They weren't calm or friendly, they were fierce, wild, and ruled by instinct. Think of a human brain mixed with the strength of a horse. That's a dangerous combination. Many stories describe centaurs crashing parties, stealing wine, fighting anyone in their path. They were fast, strong, and completely unpredictable. To the ancient Greeks, these creatures weren't heroes. They were warnings, but not all of them. Among these wild monsters, one was different. His name was Chiron. Chiron was wise, calm, and nothing like the others. He taught heroes, healed wounds, and knew more about nature than anyone alive. What made Chiron special? To answer that, we need to look at where the centaurs came from, and what made them so feared in the first place. According to myth, most centaurs were born from Ixion, a man punished by the gods. Zeus created a cloud in the shape of Hera, and Ixion fell for the illusion. From that mistake came the centaurs. This origin alone explains a lot. They weren't meant to be perfect beings. They were born from chaos, and they carried chaos wherever they went. But Chiron was different because he wasn't born from Ixion. He was the son of Kronos, one of the most powerful titans, and a sea nymph named Philyra. His bloodline made him stronger, calmer, and far more intelligent than the others. And here's something interesting. Both the wild centaurs and the wise Chiron are creatures with hidden sides, deeper story. And honestly, it reminds me of the Chinese dragon. People think they know the story, but they really don't. It's way darker than you expect. I made a full video explaining everything about the Chinese dragon, so feel free to check it out. Now, back to Chiron. Chiron became the teacher of heroes. Achilles, Hercules, Jason, all trained under a centaur who wanted peace, not war. And by the way, yes, Chiron is the same guy you might remember from the 1997 Disney Hercules movie. But his real story doesn't end the way you expect. Hercules once visited Chiron, and during a battle with the wild centaurs, an arrow coated in poison struck Chiron by accident. Even though he was immortal, he couldn't die. But he also couldn't heal himself. Chiron didn't beg for help. He didn't cry out. Instead, he made the greatest sacrifice in mythology. He offered his immortality to free Prometheus, the titan who brought fire to humans. Because of Chiron's sacrifice, Prometheus was freed, and Chiron was allowed to finally rest. A peaceful end for the most peaceful centaur. After he died, Chiron was placed in the stars as the constellation Centaurus, or Sagittarius. Chiron is the only exception among centaurs. Not all centaurs were like Chiron. Most centaurs were wild and violent, living on the edges of civilization. They roamed mountains and forests, attacking villages and kidnapping women. The Greeks used these centaurs as symbols of barbarism. One of the most famous examples of their chaos is the Centauromachy, or what I like to call the Bloody Wedding. A battle where centaurs, drunk and out of control, attacked a wedding, tried to rape all the women at the wedding, including the bride, and assaulted the guests, turning a celebration into a battlefield. Greek art captures their violence in stark detail. The Parthenon sculptures and the Temple of Apollo at Epikurios show centaurs rearing over humans, wielding weapons and dominating their victims. Their strength and size made them almost unstoppable, and their actions became a symbol of uncontrollable desire, chaos, and the danger. Yet, humans fought back. Heroes like Theseus and the Lapiths rose to challenge them, armed with courage, skill, and unity. In epic battles, centaurs were driven back, defeated not by strength alone, but by strategy and determination. Over time, the wild centaurs were pushed into the mountains, scattered, and eventually wiped out according to myth, leaving only stories of their terror. Their dark legacy remained, carved into Greek art and memory for generations. But still, some philosophers wonder, could centaurs exist somewhere humans haven't explored? Perhaps in another realm, hidden from our eyes? What do you think?